do I speed you up? Alright, think like this is the best way. Alright. So as I was saying, welcome Stormer Show, my Twitch fam, my members of the Twitch community that still follow my show. I'm grateful for all my Storm champions, even if they don't catch my streams when they're live. I realize my schedule isn't as consistent as it could be. Hopefully once I return to work as a teacher, that will improve. I may need to move again. Alright, but if any of you out there are like me, with all this turbulence going on in our lives, these readings might help. After this, I might upload some of them to YouTube too, so you'll be able to find them there as well. I think the entire series should be up on YouTube now for everyone to reference if anyone should need these ideas and concepts to bring them peace of mind. I know my exercise streams have been on hiatus. Once I find another place where I have more space, I think I'll be able to continue them. I can try it here, but as you guys have seen from some of my exercise routines in the past, I use a lot of space when I do my exercises. It's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, trying to wait. Okay. But yeah, reading is definitely something I could do even without a lot of space, so I'll take advantage of that. Note to self. You may have kept a journal as a teenager, diligently writing your private thoughts, treasured hopes, and every detail of adolescent angst. So why not return to a notebook today? Journaling. It's a good way to get some of those ideas down. And I'm not someone who consistently writes in a journal, although I maybe could. I think at some point in the past I did. Trying to find time to both read and write every day is something that I'm working on. And this is recommending writing to make you feel better, so that's another option. We're getting close to the end. I think today we'll have the Mindfulness Special and we'll finish out the series today, since we only have 3 pages left. Okay. Before I move on, let me show you the page. Okay. And I'll describe it again, like I always do. There's a ceramic cup, like a coffee cup. It's got brown coffee in it. Looks like light creamer based on the hue. It's sitting on a plate with a design that uses a lot of dots, holes in the surrounding area of the plate. There is a ceramic looking pineapple below that, completely white. There are 2 notebooks, one that is pink in color that says notes, and another with a black ink and spot based design on the cover. There's a maybe porcelain ceramic looking leaf that has a chunk of it that's broken off, reflective of the fragile nature of this building material. The leaf itself is white in color with some red looking, perhaps rust or some type of oxidation. Below that there's a pen that is golden. And below that still there are several pins. Golden brown pins. Let's see if I can improve the lighting, guys. I can always turn. There, I think that's better. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. One of the things often left behind in the transition from teenager to adulthood is the habit of keeping a journal. Yet taking the time to write as an adult can lead to invaluable insight. In the quiet moments of reflection that writing can offer, feelings and concerns can be explored, as can creative ideas. The future can become clear, as can the past. As words appear on the page, it's possible to move from the imaginary into the present, to understand and write new histories, to gain a healing perspective by investing in storytelling that's deeply personal. I oftentimes like to say that writing is your world. It's whatever you make and whatever you want it to be. Our notebooks give us away, or however dutifully we record what we see around us. The common denominator of all that we see is always transparently, shamelessly, the implacable. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Implacable or implaceable? Let me look it up real quick just to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. I think it's implaceable. Let's see. Implacable. Placate. Implacable. Right? Implacable. Hang on, guys. Implacable. Implacable. Usually I'm really great with words, guys, but that time it's like sometimes the soft C confuses me a little bit. Implacable. Meaning unable to be placated. Transparently, shamelessly, the implacable I, writes essayist Joan Didion in her essay on keeping a notebook in Slouching Towards Bethlehem. I guess this is somewhat similar to what I've said before in that we always view things from our own lens. Yeah, we see the world through ourselves. I think it's a common concept between what Joan Didion is saying here and what I've said in the past. Likening her habit to a compulsion, Joan views the need to write as an entirely personal one. A disposition born not from the desire accurately to record everyday events, but from a personality type that views the world through the lens of a relentless why. Returning to the subject again in her 1976 essay, Why I Write, she adds, I write entirely to find out what I'm thinking. what I'm looking at, what I see, and what it means. What I want and what I fear. It's like expression in a way. I've seen writing that way in the past. Sorry guys, shaky hand. And for those of us at home that are reluctant to write, or maybe you've got writer's block, you don't have motivation to write, I would say start by making a simple observation about what's around you. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? And heck, you can start with a small paragraph just about what you're watching, what you're hearing. Let's see, where am I? What I fear. Regardless of the motivation, keeping a notebook is deeply personal. Writing on a regular basis is to have an ongoing conversation with the self, which takes place between the world as experienced and an interpretation of it. Absorbed in the free flow. Here, let me change my shirt, guys. There. Writing on a regular basis is to have an ongoing conversation with the self, which takes place between the world as experienced and an interpretation of it. What is seen and how it's seen. Absorbed in the free flow of thoughts and ideas, events and relationships can suddenly be seen in a new light. The future can be imagined with steps of how to get there. There can be moments of insight that even surprise, as if though the very act of putting pen to paper, they are given life for the first time. Keeping a notebook is therefore a way to discover and even reconnect with different selves. An afternoon spent reading through old notebooks can reignite passions, lead to a revival of interests, and a new sense of commitment. In my case, sometimes the things that I write can remind me of the past, a feeling that I've had, or a sensation that I experienced that is sometimes recreated through things that I've written down. Like, oh, that's how I was feeling at that time. In the journal, I do not just express myself more openly than I could to any person. I create myself, wrote academic and author Susan Sontag. The journal is a vehicle for my sense of selfhood. Such is the power of this self-narrative that journal writing can help with mindfulness. Focused thoughts shape how events and memories are viewed. And even promote a more positive outlook. It has also been used as a tool in therapy as a way of working through traumatic events. Sometimes I think it just helps to just start writing. Especially if something bad's happened, just start writing it out. In their study, Counting Blessings versus Burdens, where they investigated gratitude and well-being in daily life, psychologists Robert A. Emmons and Michael E. McCullough, I hope I'm saying that right, asked participants to record their moods, behaviors, and physical symptoms related to a series of assigned topics. The group that wrote that they were grateful for reported at the end of the study that they felt more optimistic, had increased their levels of physical exercise, and experienced fewer health problems. Sorry for the lighting changes, guys. I don't know why that's happening. Yeah, I think power issue here. I'm staying. The lights will flicker on and off. Similarly, Joshua M. Smith et al. Studied the impact of writing on the physical symptoms of asthma and rheumatoid arthritis patients, people with weakness in the joints. Participants were asked to write for 20 minutes on 3 consecutive days a week. Those assigned to write about the most stressful event of their lives demonstrated clinical improvements 4 months after the writing exercise. Writing helped patients get better and also kept them from getting worse. I think it's one of those things where the more you practice with the muscle, sometimes that reduces muscle weakness. It's like any muscle, the more you exercise it, the better that it's the better it will be, the stronger that it will get. 20 minutes, I'd say. By the same token, do a scan, self-examination. If you're like one of those people that has rheumatoid arthritis, and you got like weakness in your hands are sore, especially when you're trying to grip a pencil or writing instrument, consider using the keyboard, consider using voice to text. Those are other options you can use if conventional writing instruments are uncomfortable for you to use. I think in this digital age that we're in, more often than not, you're typing either on a computer, on a laptop, or on a phone, for example, than on pen and paper. I think that's the old-fashioned way of doing things. My thumb itches, guys, that's why I did that. Similarly, Joshua M. Smith et al. Studied the impact of writing on the physical symptoms. It helped them feel better. But what is more to the point is my belief that the habit of writing, thus for my own eye, only is good practice. It loosens the ligaments, never mind the misses and the stumbles. That's Virginia Woolf writing that, a renowned author. It's like the habit of writing. Such is the power of words that they can help with goal achievement. According to Gail Matthews, a psychology professor at the Dominican University in California, people are 42% more likely to achieve their goals when they write them down on a regular basis. I think it really depends on what the goal is. Writing and creativity. Unlike a diary where events are chronicled, a notebook can foster creativity, experimentation, and freedom of ideas. The celebrated notebooks of artists and writers such as Anais Nin and Virginia Woolf attest to this. Episodic, frequently unstructured, ranging from detailed vignettes of daily life to half-formed dialogues and conversations, such writing showed the imagination at play, and the importance of this playfulness to the creative process. Speaking of keeping a diary, Anais shared that in the writing she discovered improvisation, free association, obedience to mood, impulse, brought forth countless images, portraits, descriptions, impressionistic sketches, symphonic experiments from which I could dip at any time for material. A lot of different concepts tied to writing as a creatistic and art form. Similarly, Virginia Woolf spoke of the creative benefits of keeping a diary. She viewed the practice as key to the process of writing. It loosens the ligaments, Never mind the misses and the stumbles. And is fundamental to creativity in a diary. And is fundamental to creativity. In a diary entry from April 20th, 1919, she shared, "I should like to come back after a year or two and find that the collection had sorted itself and refined itself and coalesced, as such deposits so mysteriously do, into a mold transparent enough to reflect the light of our life, and yet steady, tranquil compounds with the aloofness of a work of art." In other words, ideas can initially appear as fleeting or transient. It is only over time that they can congeal and take tangible form. Journal writing captures this process but also aids it, perhaps creating more of a sense of permanence to those fleeting ideas. Beyond the written word. The written word is extraordinarily compelling, but creativity can also take flight through the world of color, texture, and shape. A collage, mood board, or even random assemblage of found objects, a train ticket, a photo torn from a magazine, a sample of cloth, all these are talisman for different journeys of self-expression. Mexican artist Frida Kahlo kept notebooks exploring the themes of death and illness, Mexican art and culture, self-portraiture, and surrealism for the 10 years leading up to her death. Published I always struggle with this, posthumously, after death. I recognize the word meaning after death. Posthumously, I think, is how it's pronounced. They are filled with intensely colored watercolors and thoughts, dreams, and poems. Deeply personal and emotively raw, the contents reveal Frida's creative process and are intimate portraits of herself, arguably more moving than her self-portraits. Some very complex themes. Notebooks can take numerous forms. Use one to note down daily observations and ideas that interest you. A life book could be filled with collages, occasionally annotated with reflections and aspirations. Between the pages, you could keep treasured letters and postcards that you've received alongside photos of loved ones. Think of each page as an imaginary landscape that you've created from the world around you. There doesn't need to be any logic to when you choose to add to it. Do remember, though, that your notebook isn't somewhere to store stories you're telling others, just ones for yourself. I think it's important to differentiate the purpose of your writing. Who's the intended audience? Is there one? And it's okay if there's not, right? Some of your most let me see how I want to express this. Some of your most intimate thoughts, secrets, ideas can be expressed through these journals that are not intended for an audience. Taking your first steps in keeping a notebook. Fill your pages daily. In her book, The Artist's Way, author Julia Cameron explores the connection between creativity and writing. Likening creativity to a muscle that must be worked, she encourages people to write 3 pages a day and to write without thinking. Such streams of consciousness allow for thoughts and ideas to arise and to unlock what she believes to be people's innate creativity. Express gratitude. By writing a sentence a day, Gretchen Rubin, who's responsible for Weekly Happier podcast, states that people can keep happy memories vivid. Realistic and highly pragmatic, her approach encourages an ongoing chronicle of personal quests for happiness in what has been achieved. Explore the power of the visual. Collect photos, pictures from magazines, postcards, and even dried flowers, ribbons, and leaves to create colors and textures together before trying to capture in words what they represent to you. And I think this picture here is of the white ceramic pineapple from before, the plate with a coffee cup on it filled with coffee, and the ceramic leaf. Mind over matter. This will be the conclusion of our mindfulness series. Light. It's tough, guys, like trying to find the right angle. Mind over matter. Last page of our mindfulness series. Be inspired to live in the moment with these mindful words. Be happy in the moment. That's enough. Each moment is all we need, not more. Mother Teresa said that. At least it was attributed to Mother Teresa. Training your mind to be in the present moment is the number one key to making healthier choices. That was Susan Albers. In today's rush, we all think too much, seek too much, want too much, forget about the joy of just being. Eckhart Tolle. Tolle. Nothing can dim the light that shines from within. Maya Angelou. Our own worst enemy cannot harm us as much as our unwise thoughts. No one can help us as much as our own compassionate thoughts. Buddha. Compassion. Rumi says, look for the answer inside your question. Pure awareness transcends thinking. It allows you to step outside the chattering negative self-talk and your reactive impulses and emotions. It allows you to look at the world once again with open eyes. And when you do so, a sense of wonder and quiet contentment begins to reappear in your life. Mark Williams says that. Pure awareness. The mind is like water. When it's turbulent, it is difficult to see. When it's calm, everything becomes clear. Prasad Mays. I may be saying some of these names incorrectly. Sorry if any of you are watching my stream. Yeah, if I'm saying it incorrectly, you can always clarify in chat if you are by chance watching this stream, or see the VOD or something. Happiness is your nature. It is not wrong to desire it. What is wrong is seeking it outside when it is inside. Ramana Maharshi says this. Finding happiness within. Life is a dance. Mindfulness is witnessing that dance, Amit Ray says. The little things, the little moments, they aren't little, says John Kabat-Zinn. Mind is a flexible mirror. Adjust it to see a better world. Amit Ray says, in mindfulness, living in the moment, living in the breath. Mindfulness is like that. It is the miracle which can call back in a flash out dispersed mind and restore it to wholeness so that we can live each minute of life. Thich Nhat Hanh, The Miracle of Mindfulness, an Introduction to the Practice of Meditation. Your calm mind is the ultimate weapon against your challenges. So relax. Brian McGill says this in Simple Reminders, Inspiration for Living Your Best Life. Mindfulness is simply being aware of what is happening right now without wishing it were different. Enjoying the pleasant without holding on when it changes, which it will. Being with the unpleasant without fearing it will always be this way, which it won't. James Baraz. Let me see if I can paraphrase. Being happy in the moment. Being okay with change. Yeah. So being happy in the moment and being okay with change are the two core concepts of James Baraz's quote. The picture. is a bunch of flowers and plants. There's a butterfly flying, and there's a slight blur going on behind the flowers in the foreground. Alright guys, that was the Breathe Mindfulness Special. Thank you so much for joining me on this adventure. It has been quite an adventure. 96 pages worth. For those of you that have joined me, I hope that this book provided you with some level of peace of mind, or maybe at least something to think about, maybe made it easier for you to fall asleep. Yeah, I'll see where my stream goes. It's not exploding in popularity. Stormer Show may never be one of the biggest channels on Twitch, but if that's the case, so be it. Have a good night, everybody. I hope that you've enjoyed watching. Stay strong, my Storm champions. Stormer Show signing off.